There's something strange going on when it comes to the narrative about Derik Queen. Suddenly, everybody seems like they like him. Interesting. We're going to take a look at some of the recent comments about Queen and also how he could match up with a superstar that's already on the Pelicans inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, everybody? It's your people Melz of the MIC. Welcome back inside Pelicans Digest. Just crossed over 3,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, man. We really do appreciate it, man. Let's keep that number going up higher and higher. This is where you get the best opinion, analysis, and more about the Pels right here on Pelicans Digest. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. We really do appreciate it. And today, I was scrolling around and I wasn't seeing too much news about the Pels today, but I did come across a couple of, I guess you could say, nice articles about Derik Queen. Because, of course, as you know, in the Summer League, in his 2 games in Summer League so far, he's giving you 2 double-doubles. So I kind of find it interesting that there's been a lot of talk about Queen today. Especially, I saw an article, I think it was on Anscape, where it was calling him the new Baby Joker or Baby Joker or something like that. And I was like, well, damn, for a player that everybody said that we shouldn't have picked and wasted a draft pick on, and you know what I'm saying? So y'all gave up a first round for this guy and all this. Now all of a sudden everybody's starting to seem like they're starting to see the light a little bit about him. You know what I'm saying? But that was one article I came across today that I found very interesting. It was from Sports Illustrated, and I think it was Will Dessart who had the article. And he talked about a possible pairing on the floor. And this is something we all have talked about. A lot of people have talked about as of late. This growing talk of how Derik Queen is going to fit on the floor with Zion Williamson if you were to play him. And, you remember in Step Brothers when Will Ferrell and and them they took their bunk beds and put them up. They created bunk beds and put them on top of each other. And you remember Will Ferrell was jumping around the room going, so many activities. That's how I feel about this Pelicans roster right now. It's like so many activities, so many ways you could go with this, okay? With this roster. There's so many different ways and setups that you could go that I think you could be successful in any way, shape, or form. But one thing that they asked Derik Queen about in a recent podcast interview was how he thinks he would fit on the floor with Zion Williamson in certain situations. And I kind of thought about that too, but I want you to see what he had to say about this and tell me your thoughts on this. Zion will probably tell me to get out of his way, Queen said, so I'm going to get out of his way. I'll throw lobs up to Zion and just help him be the best version that he can play of himself. And again, good diplomatic answer, the press-friendly answer and all this other stuff. But I kind of started thinking about this. Because I was like, that would be fun to see. You know what I'm saying? That would be fun to see. The issue that I have is, the Pels like to play Zion at the power forward position, okay? And Zion is 6'6". And it kind of also, this conversation about Zion playing the power forward position kind of has been a growing situation and a growing talk amongst NBA insiders and also NBA veterans like Gilbert Arenas, who recently on his podcast recommended that Zion should move to the small forward position. I want you to take a look at this statement where he said. He says, if he's at the 3, okay, now we're talking. If you could get him down weight and he's at the 3 position, how he plays just coming downhill, posting up, out rebounding, small forwards is a juggernaut in that position. And Gil went on to sort of talk about some of the small forwards in the Western Conference that would go up against Zion. And like the Kevin Durant's and the and the Michael Porter Jr.'s, I think, if he was playing in Dallas, and Najee and guys like that. And it kind of made sense to me what he was saying. It makes a lot of sense. But there's also, Zion has been successful in the power forward position against some of these guys. Again, he's averaging 20 plus a night when he's out there healthy. So I find it intriguing that if you do move Zion, and I want to know your thoughts about this, because I don't want to be, I don't want to dominate the conversation or try to push my opinion on anybody. I really wanted to do this video to get y'all thoughts on it. I want to get y'all thoughts on it. But I think about this, depending on the situation, I can see you putting Zion at the 3, and Queen at the 4. In certain situations, depending on what you got going up against. Now, the problem that I have, again, with Queen is I still think he can't bulk up against some of these guys, like a Giannis or something like that. I think Giannis would dominate him. But that's also why you went and got a Sadiq Bey, in my opinion, because Sadiq Bey has more muscle and more oomph. But when I think about this, I would love to see Queen lob it up to Zion and vice versa, and all this other stuff. And I would like to see the reverse, the same, Zion tossing it up to Queen on certain situations. But I am intrigued by this. I am intrigued by this whole moving Zion to the 3 situation. But that also will leave out room for, like you said, like we've always talked about, a Herb Jones. But I think this comes down to situational basketball in my opinion. Depending on the lineup you're going up against, because again, I can see Zion really doing damage to a lot of these wings out here, like a LeBron. Like LeBron plays mostly, tries to play small forward sometimes, most of the game. So I can see him and LeBron going back and forth and battling. I can see him taking on some more of these smaller forwards and being aggressive and being able to beat them, because he's explosive when he gets to rolling. So it's a fascinating thing to think about. It's just fascinating to think about it, in my opinion. And so I see what Gilbert Arenas is leaning at, but I just really want to know your thoughts on this one, because I mean, look, again, with Derik Queen, the fascinating thing about this is now you're seeing all these NBA pundits all of a sudden falling in love with this kid because he's doing, averaging a double-double in Summer League. Now everybody's like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't such a bad pick for the Pelicans. You're going to start seeing that over the next couple of weeks to sort of soften their distance away from this if this kid continues to do what he do. But I said this in the video yesterday. I don't see you putting Queen at the 5. He's got to be at the 4. And if he's on the 4, if he's at the 4, do you have to put him on the back? I mean, on the second line? I think you have to put him on the second line. But in certain situations, I can see you putting him on the floor with Zion and seeing how that cook and how that develop. I'm just intrigued. So many activities, man. It's just so many activities. It's just so much to think about with this team, man. Like, I don't think, like I said, the national media don't seem to know or understand what we got. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's crazy. They just see it still losing a whole bunch of games. The whole point of this team, once again, is if everybody stays healthy. If everybody can stay healthy, if you can get Dejounte Murray back to his all-star form sometime during this season, and you have a Jordan Poole out there, and I think with Jordan Poole being there with the guys in Summer League, building a repertoire and building and connecting with these guys, I think we could be better than expected. I will continue to argue that. I will continue to be positive about what's going on with this team. It's up to the coach and the scheme, and also the lineups and the rotations. When you think about all this talent that we have on this team, again, I come back to, wow, man, so many activities, so many ways you can go up against different guys in different lineups. And I know that's one of the problems that the Pels have had over the last few years, is because you had so many guys out, you had so many different rotations. Now you got a gluttony of talent. Now you have a gluttony of talent of guys that can, like I said, you want to build a competent and winning first line and have a second line that can still dominate and still have a third line that is capable, and I kind of see that with this team. Again, I don't see championship, but I do see us being in a better space. But I just want to know what y'all think about that. Do you think a fit of Zion Williamson and Derik Queen will work? What are your thoughts on that, man? I want you to clap back with your thoughts on this quick little edition as we get ready for Summer League tomorrow night. Another game with the Pels. They're playing back-to-backs to wrap up the Summer League play and see if they're going to get into this tournament. I don't know if they will or not. But what are your thoughts, man? Would you like to see a Queen and Zion Williamson pairing on the floor sometime during this upcoming season? And what are your thoughts on the sudden, niceness of the national media about Derik Queen. What are your thoughts on it? Clap back, and we'll keep you updated tomorrow with another edition of Pelicans Digest as we take a look at what happened in tomorrow's game at Summer League.